IET with Mike C. And man, I'm so glad to be with you here again today. I just I look forward to this every day. I wake up thinking about the opportunity just to sit here and be able to chop it up with you for a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's show. We had Mr. Funny Man, Mr. A Man, Andre Bailey on with us, and it was a good show. Excuse me. Although we did have some technical difficulties yesterday, it still turned out to be a very good show, and I want to again thank Andre for coming on with us. My boy Jay Red, comedian extraordinaire, man of God. Jay Red is going to be coming on soon. We had talked about him coming on today, but we never confirmed it. Plus, he's on the road traveling. So I want to tell Jay Red, stay safe, my brother. Stay safe. All right. And we look forward to getting you on the show. I got a brother out there, man, that I used to work with, young man. He and I text each other a little bit before I came on the air here, and I'm so excited. I'm going to be excited to get him on the show. He is a very strong man of God, very strong brother. Just a good man all around, and extremely talented rapper, Brother Ruff. We got Brother Ruff. Hopefully, going to be able to come on too. Hopefully, he'll come on. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on during the launch on Monday. So again, if you're new, if you have not been joining us, this is day 13 of 14 consecutive days live. So yes, tomorrow will be our last live day consecutive. We will probably do more live days later. We're also going to be doing some webinars, so we're going to be helping people, training in certain things. We'll talk about that. And actually, if you need some help in something, whether it's music oriented, if you have some questions, please comment, send us that information, and what we'll do, we may even make a show out of it. All right? So today, what we're going to talk about today, of course, we have to talk a little bit about COVID-19 because it's still a factor. We're going to talk a little bit of sports, not a whole lot of sports, but today we're going to talk a lot about what's going around across the country. I was up most of the night last night watching the different networks, getting different perspectives on what's going on across this great nation of ours. So we're going to talk quite a bit about that. Again, IET with Mike C. Oh, doggone it. My battery just went dead. Damn, I didn't change everything but my battery. All right, well, I'm not sure if it's just going to take up from where I left off. Look, this is quite a production putting this together, and I'm not making excuses. I blew it this morning. What I have to do when I get up, and I start about 2 hours before I actually go on. I check my mic, I check the battery for my camera, I check the battery level on my wireless mics. I go through and I do a test record and check my volume and everything. I did everything today except for change the battery on the camera. So I hope that you're back with us. And I'll just try and, because it looked like it's just going to take up from where I left off. So again, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start over to a certain extent, anyhow. This is, as you can see there, IET with Mike C. So glad that you joined us here again this morning. Okay, I got a word says that we're good. Thank you, Miss Edwards. Thank you much. Uh, uh, thank you, Mark. Mark says everything is good. Thank you, Mark. Glad you're with us today as well. So, look, we are in day 13 of 14 consecutive days. And what we're doing is we're promoting the launch of the vlog, which will be launched this Monday, June 1st. And once we launch on June 1st, thank you, G Money, thank you. Um, once we launch on June 1st, we won't be going every day like we have the last 12 consecutive days. The vlog will be once a month, and it will be released on Sundays, so it's ready for you when you go to work on Monday morning. Okay. And again, the idea of the vlog for me came from I grew up loving Johnny Carson, The Day Show, Good Morning America, Tom Joyner Show, Steve Harvey. I've grown to love Steve Harvey. Actually, I like D.L. Hewley also. I think he's got a very informative show. And I like his take on things a lot. I like D.L. Hewley's take on things a lot. And I like his I would say no holes barred, but he's not ashamed of how he feels, and he shouldn't be. He's got strong opinions on a lot of things, and I like that. What's up, Big Dr? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Um, so I like D.L. Hewley too. So what I was doing with this show, I wanted to make this show a combination of all of those shows. So IET stands for information, entertainment, and truth. We want to share information with you. We want to entertain you when we can, and we want to. How can I put this? Truth for me is the word of God. That's where all truth emanates from. For me, is the word of God. Now, let me share this with you because I was going to get into this a little later, but I'll share it now too. I'm not only a Christian, I'm a minister of the gospel. But here's what I believe about my faith and how I practice my faith. I try to practice my faith like Jesus. I try to emulate him whenever I can. And one of the ways that I learned to do that when I was still living in California, when we were voting on gay marriage, as to whether or not gays would have the right to marry, um, I realized something. I realized that Christians a lot of times can be the very ones to turn folks away from Christianity. I had realized something else a while before that. You can say that you're not a religious person. I can say I'm not a religious person. But do you understand and know what the definition of religion is? It's just something that you do on a regular basis. You could be religious about playing baseball. You could be religious about doing a lot of things. I'm a man of faith, is what I am, and my faith is Christianity. And one thing that Jesus did in Christianity was he never judged people unjustly. Okay, he judged by the word of God. Um, what he didn't do also was he never forced anyone to believe as he believed. I don't believe in that either. A lot of times Christians, if you don't think the way that they think, believe the way that they do, what's the first thing they're gonna call you as a heathen, you know? And I don't feel that that's right. I have a lot of friends who are not Christians. I have one of my best friends is a Sikh. Most people don't know what a Sikh is. Sikhs are from the country of India, and there are three primary religions or faiths in India. You have Sikhs, you have Muslims, and you have Hindus. Most people don't know that, and they don't always get along either. But Jesus never forced anyone to believe as he believed. What he did was he shared truth, the word of God, his truth, and if you were free to accept it or not, because there's another thing that God gives all of us as Christians, and it's called free will. You're free not to choose Christianity. So I don't want to beat people up with that. And I want anybody to be able to come to this vlog. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable coming to this vlog if you're not Christian, if you're not a believer as I do. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. We're not going to beat you up with our faith, and we're not going to beat you up if you're not our faith. We want everybody to be able to feel comfortable coming to IET with Mike C. Now that's truth for you, okay? So, um, COVID 19. Why do I talk about it every day? You know, I have a couple of friends. Why you keep talking about that COVID? We don't hear so much. We hear so much about COVID 19. Well, I keep talking about it because it's a factor still. I keep talking about it because in this country alone, what is it? I think it's like over 1,000 people a day are still dying from it. I still talk about it because there are still too many people not taking it serious. I still talk about it because hopefully, in my talking about it, if I can just help one person, I'm happy and I've accomplished something. That's why I keep talking about it. That's why I keep encouraging you to do what? Be safe rather than sorry. So I'm going to encourage you today. Be safe rather than sorry, please, especially now. The weather is, I don't know about where you're at. I'm here in Dallas, particularly Plano, Texas, and it is beautiful today. It's already like 80 degrees outside. I went outside to take my trash out, and it was already like 80 degrees. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go out there today. I'm gonna get on that motorcycle and I'm gonna take me a nice ride today. I'm gonna take a mask with me. I'll probably take two with me because they keep breaking cheap things. But I'm gonna take my mask with me. But I'm not gonna have my mask on when I'm on my bike. I'm gonna be out there, man. Like my boy Billy said to me yesterday. He said he was sitting in his garage enjoying God's beauty, God's handiwork. So that's what I'm gonna get on my motorcycle today, and I'm gonna get out there and take me a ride and enjoy this beautiful weather that God has allowed us today. So, you know, I would encourage you to do something too. You know, you don't have to. I never, throughout the whole stay at home thing, I never totally just stayed at home. Okay, I always invoked the distance rule, 6 foot distance. I always took mask with me wherever I go. Now, when I went on my walk most of the time, I didn't need to wear a mask because I never came close to anybody. I would walk for an hour and a half, and no one would come within what 30 feet of me most of the time. It's not that they were avoiding me; it's just there weren't a whole lot of people out. So I'm going to get on my bike today and I'm going to enjoy this beautiful weather today. And I hope that you do something, have a nice time, and be safe rather than sorry while you do it today. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about sports, but it's going to be within the same framework of COVID 19. As you know, um, professional sports are trying to come back. But as I don't know if you know that college athletics, most colleges are allowing their athletes to come back to campus and participate in practice or training with other players and coaches and I believe coaches and trainers. Um, in high school as well. I don't particularly like that. I don't particularly care for it. Um, I got you, G Money. I got you. So, what I want to encourage you, like I said, always be safe rather than sorry. When it comes to your children who are athletic, student athletes, um, the institutions are not going to always look out for their better interests. I don't know if you know that, but the institutions are not going to always look after their better interests. Institutions really are just like big business, and that's what they care about. They care about the same thing that big business cares about. And they're going to use your student athlete to achieve that. So when it comes to them going back to school, you make sure that they're safe rather than sorry, because the institution clearly is not going to do that. All right, G Money, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna hit my point today. Like I told you, I stayed up pretty late last night watching all of the different networks about what's going on in this great country of ours. And I'm gonna say this in advance and early on. I am so proud of our young people. I am so proud of y'all getting out there and marching and taking a stand. I am so proud of you. As I said yesterday, when you are going to attempt to do something good like y'all are doing, um, there's always going to be someone or something that's going to try and sidetrack your cause. When you're going to do good, when you step out and actually do good, somebody doesn't like it. Somebody is going to try and sidetrack it. Sometimes it's not because they don't like you or like what you're doing. Sometimes it's just plain and simple ignorance. And I believe that to be the case here. Out of, I think it was something like 30 cities, 30 cities, 30, 30 cities participated last night in marching, protesting. Man, that's magnificent. Magnificent. But as I stated a few minutes ago, there were a few ignorant souls who don't understand how they are distracting from your message that you're sending, the fact that you're tired. And let me say this too. I saw it, and a couple. I'm not going to say a few. I only heard two of the reporters or hosts of different shows commented on it. It was a black man that was killed in Minneapolis, that was murdered, that was lynched in Minneapolis. A black man that was lynched. And it's, as we all know, it's not the first time that it's happened. And that killing, that lynching, was the powder keg, was the lighter that created what's going on. And we're not going to forget about Brother Ahmad, who recently was killed, lynched in Georgia either. But what we want to remember is why these young folks are marching. We don't want to forget that. That's why they're marching, because of justice. They're marching for the same reason that Colin Kaepernick took a knee. And a lot of people don't understand what Colin was doing. A lot of people, a lot of good people, don't understand what that was about. So they were burning his jersey and all that kind of stuff. He was taking a knee to bring attention to the injustice within our police systems around the country, police forces around the country, as well as our judicial system that exists throughout this great country. Look, when you see what's going on in Minneapolis, the coroner's report tried to say that George was not killed by this officer's knee being on his neck, in essence, suffocating him, preventing his ability to breathe. That's what the coroner's report said. What that is, y'all, is systemic racism. If you weren't sure what systemic racism is, that's it. That's the system trying to protect itself, not trying to serve and protect the citizens that it's sworn to. That's the system trying to protect itself. The coroner is in cahoots, in my opinion. The coroner is in cahoots with the police department there. You may disagree with me, and you have a right to, but the evidence, to me, has proven itself time and time again. I started to get frustrated thinking about this stuff, but the title of today's vlog is "Do Not Let Your Anger Be Defeatist." So I'm going to take that advice too, because thinking about this stuff makes me angry. It does. It should make every citizen of this great country angry. It really should. Like I said the other day, if you look back at our history, there's generally two things that happen before we get real change. And that is when you have a people who are being stepped on, who are being violated, when you have a people who are being marginalized, like African Americans have for over 400 years in this country. The first thing is it takes the majority of those people to get tired and to stand up and to say, we're not going to take this anymore. Now, you're never going to have 100% on anything, but it's going to take the majority. And I think we're there now. But the other thing that it takes, when those people are the minority, it's going to take the majority to recognize the travesties. It's going to take the majority to say that this is wrong. It's going to take the majority to have the courage, to have the courage to speak out if nothing else. So what I was commenting on earlier that I saw last night watching television that a couple of the hosts of different shows commented on was although it was George Floyd, a black man who was killed by police for the umpteenth time, it was not only black people marching and protesting. White people were out there. Latinos were out there. Asians were out there. Native Americans were out there. And this is happening in something like 30 cities across our country. People are tired. People are tired. As I said, I never meant this to be, and it's not a political show. I'm not talking about politics right now. I'm talking about justice. I'm talking about injustice. I'm talking about murder. I'm talking about lynching. But I'm talking about protest, hopefully peaceful protest. And I'm talking about enacting change as a people. We all have to come together and say we're tired. We all have to come together and say this is wrong. And we all have to come together and hold the people accountable who have the ability to effect change. So the coroner of Minneapolis, to me, I don't know if they're voted in, but if he is, she is, they have to be voted out. They should be voted out. That's my opinion. And I have a right to that like you have a right to yours. In my opinion, the police conduct, blue book, blueprint, whatever it is, has to change. It's not working. I know that this officer, what he did is not typical of what happens in the sense that, as I have said, just like I believe most Americans are good, I believe most police officers are good. But if we do not hold the few bad accountable, it makes all of y'all look bad, police officers. There were at least, I said this yesterday and I'm going to say it again, there were at least 3 other officers there. And once we saw other footage, we saw that there were, 2 or 3 other officers also had their knees on him. So hopefully all of y'all will be arrested. Hopefully all of y'all will go to prison and have to be held accountable. And we got to start holding everybody accountable. But what we have to do also is we have to look at that man or that woman in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves. We have to recognize and realize that we're not always right. I'll be the first one to raise his hand and say, I'm not always right. And I don't have any problem with being corrected. But I understand this. I'm only going to pay attention to people that I know hold no ill will towards me. So I'm not going to listen at what the KKK, the white supremacists, or neo-Nazis say. I'm not going to pay attention to them at all. But the people that I know that care about me, and that comes in all shades, all creeds, all colors, I listen to them. I pay attention to them. And I hope you will too. If you have someone who is wrong, and maybe you know somebody is done something wrong, but you think that they're a good person, then you are responsible to correct them. And I learned something from my old pastor when I was at a church in Sacramento, North Highlands, called New Testament Baptist Church. Pastor was Robert D. Esther. I learned something from Robert Esther. And you can use this in dealing with your children. You can use it in dealing with your friends. You can use it in dealing with your coworkers, even your employers. The purpose of discipline is correction, not punishment. I'm going to say that again. The purpose of discipline is correction, not punishment. Tell you something else I learned living in California. I talked a little bit about it earlier. The other thing I learned is how to judge people. I never said don't judge. The Bible never says don't judge. The thing is what are you using as a criteria to judge? That's what makes the difference. That's what makes the difference. Look, I've got friends. I've got some friends I've had for 50 years. I've got some friends I've had for, maybe a year, year and a half. A lot of people tell me I have a lot of friends, which I do. What I learned in having a lot of friends is that sometimes your friends might hurt you. Yep. I have a friend who I said to him a few years ago, he and I had a disagreement, and he wanted to just cut everything. And he's an only child. And I said to him, you still acting like that little boy. You don't get your way, so you're going to take your ball and go home. You're going to take your ball and run. I said to him, name me one friend that you have, that you stay in touch with, that you've had for 10 years. One friend that you are in touch with, that you've been friends for more than 10 years. You can name me one. I have friends that I have had for 50 years, and we have regular contact. Don't cut them out of my life. Don't mean that they haven't hurt me or other people haven't hurt me, but here's what I learned. I learned to judge my friends like Christ judges me. I learned to judge my children like Christ judges me. How is that? Let me tell you. Glad you asked. I judge them by the heart, not by their actions. You see, Christ holds me accountable for my actions, but he judges me by my heart. So with my friends, I hold them accountable for their actions, but I judge them by the heart, which it makes it easy for me to forgive them if they hurt me. The key is you have to get to know their heart. I'm not Christ. I'm not God. So I don't just know a person's heart. I have to spend time with them to get to know what's in their heart. So I would encourage you to do that as well. You can do that with your coworkers. You can do that with your fellow students, with your teammates. Man, I've got friends that were teammates of mine. Some of them I didn't talk to for a period of 20 years, not because of anger or anything like that, just because we went different ways in our lives. I'm bringing this up because I'm trying to give you an idea of my America, what America looks like to me. A guy who was born in Mobile, Alabama, like I told you yesterday, the only time I saw white people was on TV. Then I moved to California, and I'm the only black person in my class. You talk about culture shock. Elementary school, chased home by high school white kids who had bats and knives and chains and sticks, wanted to hurt me, calling me all out my name. Dealing with teachers who did not treat me fairly because of the color of my skin. But within that, I also had friends who didn't look like me, but treated me equally, fairly. What I'm saying to you is I grew up in North Highlands, California, a community that I would call diverse, but when I was there, it never had a black population of even 20%. Never. That's America to me. America to me is not a leader who does not take responsibility, a leader who lashes out at people who disagree with him, a leader who really wants to be a dictator. That's not America to me. America to me is having the right to vote and exercising that right. America to me is having the right to march and protest peacefully, without creating damage and hurting others because it takes away from your cause. I want to encourage those of you that are not marching, those of you that are watching this thing escalate on television. I want to encourage you to see through the negative of the few and see too the heart of the many that are marching and protesting. I want to encourage you to see past that. I want to encourage you to take a stand, to speak out. I'm going to have to paraphrase again. I was going to read this and print it up. I've heard different people quoting it in different forms of fashion, but the first person that I know for it to be attributed to was Martin Luther King Jr. And it was something like, justice anywhere is an injustice to all of us. We have to accept that fact. So the injustice of the lynching of George Floyd, the injustice of the stalking, murder, lynching of Brother Ahmaud in Georgia, that's an injustice to every African American. That's an injustice to every Caucasian American. That's an injustice to every Latin American. That's an injustice to every Asian American. That's an injustice to every Native American. To label people who are running from tyranny, who are running from starvation to a better place, to label them criminals is an injustice to all Americans. To label doctors and nurses who are on the front line trying to save lives, to tell them to go back where they came from because they're Asian, because it was said that this disease emanated from China, which it probably did. But to tell those folks to go back where they came from is an injustice to you, wherever you are from. We are all Americans. And guess what? Martin Luther King said something else. We may have all come here on different boats, but we're in the same boat right now. And how you affect this boat affects me. How I affect this boat affects you. You need to realize that, recognize that. You need to realize and recognize something else. You need to subscribe. Subscribe to IET with Mike C. Make a comment like my friends have done. Give us a like. If you're on Facebook, follow. Give us a like. Make a comment on Facebook. Everybody right now that commented has come from YouTube. I'm sure that there's some people who have commented on Facebook, but I haven't been able to see it yet. Thank you for those of you that have commented. Man, I thank you for your support. Look, let me tell you, I had a guy actually tell me once, man, you got too many friends. You need to cut some of them. No, partner. No. I don't think there is such thing as having too many friends, because my friends are supporting me right now. My friends keep me up. They lift me up, man. When I'm down, my friends bring me up. You can never have too many friends. You just got to know how to judge them by their heart, not by their actions. Thank you again for joining us right here on IET with Mike C. Well, we got a word? All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And one more day. Tomorrow. Same time, same place. We're going to have some good stuff for you on Monday, though, on the launch day. You got to come back and check out the launch. We're going to have some big stuff. Come check us out. Dave Brewer, call me, boy. Look, Dave and I used to have a radio show in Sacramento, and we won Producers of the Year for that show. So Dave and I got some stuff we're going to be doing. We got a few skits. My boy Jay Red going to be coming on with us. Andre may come back. He was on with us yesterday. Hopefully, I think my brother Ruff, gonna come on. Look, all right, Ruff. I know Ruff is watching. Ruff had a song some years ago. I don't remember the name of the song, Ruff, but it was Gorilla something. And I just remember the beat to that song, man. I always had a video envisioned in my head. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it. What's his name used to say on no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. The vision that I had of that song, Ruff, was uh, young kids coming out in fatigues and marching to the beat of that song. Hum, hum, hum. And then you came in with the rap. So maybe you can do that song for us for Monday's launch. All right. So y'all come back and join us again. You see, man, I like doing this so much, man. I don't even like getting off the air. We at 30 minutes yet? We passed 30 minutes, so I gotta let you go. Come back tomorrow. Got some more stuff for you tomorrow. Man, I love all of you, each and every one of you. God bless you and be with you. We'll see you tomorrow. We out.